Hey, I just really started talking and doing a live stream without having my headset on that I'm using to speak. Wow, that's a new one. That's new. I've never done that. All right, but welcome to the Panthers franchise season 2 draft preview. That's interesting. We're here for the one-day draft season prior to the NFL offseason for the Panthers franchise. Okay. Hey, the Twins score yet? That's something I want the question or the answer to. I don't think so. So what was I saying? I was trying to say that I wasn't late and that I was 4 minutes early, and I was welcoming you guys to what is going to be hopefully a very nice live stream. And at one point I asked if the audio sounded good, and I bet you it didn't. I was trying to see like if the audio levels were good. Like if I raise my voice and get excited over something, I'm not sure what it would be today. Like, look at that B block shed. Like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm probably not going to get too hyped today. I just don't want the audio clipping and the levels getting out of control, so you guys have to get a brand new pair of headphones tomorrow. So hopefully audio isn't great. Yeah, it might not be great. Um, the mic quality usually isn't great, but as long as it's not hurting your ears, we should be alright. Alright, so we have 256 people in here right now. We're still a minute ahead of where I was going to begin the stream. So that should, we'll wait a few minutes, and then we'll wait to see how many more people join. Get as many in here as possible. And then tomorrow I'm going to be streaming the off-season, roughly the same time as what I think. Audio was good now. Audio was fine. Thank you guys. Alright, so things are working. My headset's on. It's still on. So we are good to go. So, right now on the screen, we're going to get this thing going right now. What you see on screen right now is the team draft board. This is a save file because you can't look at scouting during the playoffs, which is where I am in the season. And obviously, if you watch Week 17, then you know that we did not make the postseason. And what I did is I created a second save file in Week 17 just so I could go back and do this live stream and show you guys the draft prospects before the off season. So this was actually saved prior to Week 17, so it says we're 10-5, but just know we finished 10-6 and missed the postseason. But I can still show you guys a few things here that are important for the off season. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at salaries and talk about the free agents and what's going to be kind of our situation heading into the off season. One second. Anyway, I think if my count was correct, there are six. Six? I was reading the comments. Someone said like top six players are defense, and I said six. What I meant to say was there are 27 free agents on our roster. But I wouldn't get too worried because most of them are like undrafted rookies and players who aren't as critical to the team. But there are some important free agents. So before we get into the draft preview, I just want to show you guys our needs prior to that. So here is everybody who has an expiring contract in this season. And over half our team is currently expiring. But a lot of these guys will be very easy to stick around. Guys like Brandon Williams and Taj Boyd, I think, will be very easy re-signings for less than $1 million. So I'm not too worried about those guys. But right here you see, obviously, Mike Tolbert, Greg Olson, and Thomas Davis are three of our biggest free agents that are hitting free agency. There's also Charles Woodson, Charles Tillman, Josh Norman, Roman Harper. A lot of these veterans I'm not looking to keep around. They were just kind of hold the fort for a year or two guys anyway. So we're going to have to do some drafting to get some starters this year. But the biggest free agent we have is Greg Olson. He's been our number one receiver basically over the first two seasons, led the team in receptions. This year he had over 1,000 yards, and I think he had somewhere like 5 or 6 touchdowns. So I want to show you guys what. Wait, this isn't where I actually look at that. Greg Olsen. I'm hoping. I gotta show you guys what his contract demands are. This screen is better anyway. This isn't all of my expiring contracts, but it's the big ones. So Greg Olsen at 30 years old, obviously a very good tight end. He is looking at 6 years, 45 million roughly, and that just cannot happen for a 30-year-old tight end, especially us just paying Cam, Luke, and still having to pay younger players like Starr and Short. I can't give Greg Olsen a deal like this, so my plan is to offer him a 2-year contract or a 3-year, and if he doesn't accept, I'm going to end up tagging him most likely. So Greg Olsen can't get that. That can't happen, but we're going to try to keep him around regardless. Thomas Davis, very important player, but he's missed games in both seasons so far. I believe this season he missed 4 or 5, and in the first season he missed like 9 or like 7 to 9 games, something like that. So one thing that we have to do regardless is get a replacement for him eventually. And I thought Bob Butler could be that guy, but perhaps he isn't suited for that spot. Thomas Davis is 32, and he does get injured, so we have to be prepared. And he wants a 3-year, $14.9 million contract. I think I'd be willing to offer him somewhere close, but it'd be for very little guaranteed, so we can move on if we had to at some point. And then we have Mike Tolbert, who isn't as... It's not as big of a free agent because it's a fullback, but he doesn't want very much. He is getting older, so we could keep Mike, or we could try to replace him, get some competition perhaps in the offseason. And then Josh Norman, I would like to keep him around. I thought he had a good season besides Week 17 where Mike Evans absolutely destroyed him. Josh Norman could not play well in Week 17, but he doesn't want very much money. He had 5 interceptions this year, and I'll keep him around, or try to. Brad Nortman, actually looking to get past Brad Nortman because I'm trying to save as much money as I can, and so if I don't have to give $2 million a year to a punter, I'm not going to. I have scouted the punter I do like in this offseason, this class. Roman Harper, 32 years old, has played pretty well these last couple of years, forcing a bunch of fumbles, and I'm not going to give him $3 million a year, and he's probably not even going to be starting caliber next year. He hardly was this season, only because he could force fumbles. But Trey Boston, I think, can take over that spot next year. D'Angelo Williams, not looking to re-sign him. He really didn't do much for us this year, and he doesn't really have any dynamic skills. He's a guy who should probably be pretty easy to replace. Melvin White, I do think I'll keep him around, thinking about changing his position. Burson might keep around. Brandon Williams I do want to keep. Fozzie Whitaker I also want to keep. Philly or Corey Brown, probably not, just because we had Carlton Sanders step in and play well, and Philly doesn't really have a... Thing is, he's a decent receiver, but I just don't think that he's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more of a route running specialist behind Donovan Ashley. Let me see if I can find the route running on here. Yeah, 61 for Philly Brown. And he doesn't have deep speed to be like an outside receiver backup. Or anyway, he wouldn't be a deep threat or a great route runner. He's still a project at this point in his career. So probably someone to replace. And then Derek Anderson, just a veteran that's probably the right time to move on from. I know he played well in Week 17, but we need to have a good backup in case Cam goes down for an extended period of time. And I'm not sure if Taj Boyd is ready. We saw how inaccurate he was in Week 17. And Cam, obviously, if we did make the playoffs somehow, and we came back to win that game and the Saints lost, Cam would have missed the first 3 weeks of the postseason anyway. So he finished the year hurt with broken ribs. So let's take a second look at the roster here and then just list off the needs. I have backup quarterback listed as a need. I definitely want to go out and get a running back that can carry the workload. I still like Jonathan Stewart. He gets yards after contact and fights. But I want somebody with more speed, more elusiveness, somebody who can carry the rock, 12 to 15 times a game. Fullback, we may get some competition. At receiver, I really like Kelvin Benjamin and Lance Adams. Sanders has played well as a kick returner and in sparing time on the offense. Donovan Ashley, I thought, has played decently out of the slot. He had a productive ending to the season. Tight end, we might try to get somebody in here just because Greg Olsen isn't young, and I'm not going to look to re-sign Antonio Gates. Along the offensive line, I like Olin Greco and what he did this season. Could still use a tackle, and we could definitely use some help at guard. We got destroyed on the interior this year, so getting a guard and a tackle is probably something we have to think hard about in the early rounds of the draft. On defense, we have a pretty good front seven, although we could strengthen our depth a little bit just to get a better rotation. I want to get younger at defensive tackle so I can keep Starr and Short healthy and fresh for the end of games so that they can dominate the fourth quarter. At linebacker, I still think that we might have to get somebody else besides Bob Butler to compete for outside linebacker. A backup for Luke would be nice. And I'm actually liking the way A.J. Klein played this year, so he might actually be safe at his spot. At corner, we got some work to do. I thought D. Small played pretty good in Week 17, and he became our fourth corner earlier than that and actually had a couple drop picks, so he could see some playing time increase next year. I'm planning on moving Melvin White to free safety because he's not taking care of business in the slot. He doesn't have very good man coverage, as you see right here, 77. However, he has good zone coverage, and if you see the rest of the ratings, I think he fits as a safety, a free safety, not an in-the-box run stopper, although he did tackle pretty well this season. I think with the zone coverage, he has some speed and size, jumping ability. I'd like to see what he can do at safety. It's better than playing nickel. We have to get a better nickel corner who can handle those receivers out of the slot because we gave up too many yards there this season. Charles Tillman, he had interceptions, made some plays, but I still had to account for his lack of speed on the outside. He got beat a couple times, and we have to get somebody we can trust at left cornerback. So that's one of our biggest needs on defense. Safety, Woodson played well, but we got to get younger. I think Melvin White could be a starting safety next year, or we'd at least get some more competition. And at strong, Trey Boston might be able to be a starter next season. Rookie Devon Pruitt didn't play very much, and I think this was the draft pick I actually regretted the most, because Devon Pruitt, if you look at the ratings and even the size, I look at him as basically he's Trey Boston, but not as good as Trey Boston. So I don't know. I've thought about perhaps either keeping him as a backup safety or maybe seeing what I could get in a trade to get another pick to have at least 9 picks in this upcoming draft. So Devon Pruitt, might put him on the trade block, see what's out there, just because he's essentially a clone of Trey Boston. So that's a pick I definitely do pretty much regret. It was a 3rd round pick. It was kind of me reaching for a need because we missed out on so many other defensive backs, and so I took the best that I liked, and perhaps it wasn't the right move. So with that, guys, we understand now what our needs are heading into the offseason. I have them listed here. This is kind of my rough prioritized order, but let me see if I can actually find them. I have them on here somewhere. All right. Obviously, guard and tackle are a big need. Outside corner, slot corner, primary running back, right tackle for the future, outside linebacker for future, safety, slot receiver, perhaps a backup slot, because I think Ashley could play full-time in the slot, veteran quarterback, or just a backup quarterback, and punter. So keep that in mind as we go through all of these prospects, or not all of them necessarily, but we're going to take a good look. So now is the time, guys, we're going to get familiar with this draft class. And let me remind you, the Atlanta Falcons will pick number 1. So the player who goes off the board first, we will be facing twice a season. And right now, this is a defensively heavy top 10. We have Tom Morris from Penn State, Axel Ajala, defensive tackle. He's another pass rusher. Both of these guys are 4.3, and I want to say, yeah, I believe the Falcons now run a 3-4 on here, so they might not go for a defensive tackle. They went for Charlton Solomon, a defensive lineman, last year. I could see them going after a pass rusher here, either Edward Bowles from Ohio State or Theo Russell from Nebraska. Perhaps they do something with Lamel Ryans from LSU, Samuel Obana? I'm not sure. Obaniah? Kind of Obaniah, but 3/4 of the way there. another outside linebacker from Michigan State, and then we get to some quarterbacks. So the good thing is that while we're missing out on some of the top prospects here, obviously picking in the late teens, early 20s, wherever that's going to be, I believe we'll pick at 19 or 20 because the top 12 teams, or the bottom 12 teams, are all playoff teams, and we were one of the top teams that did not make the postseason. So 19, 20, somewhere in there is where we're going to pick. And we also have the Colts third rounder, and they finished 6 and 10. So 4 picks in the top 100. So while these guys are some of the top players in the class, I can't really tell you a ton about them because I did not scout them. These are the best players that I've scouted because I try to stay realistic to what we're going to have a chance to draft or potentially trade up for. So I don't have ratings exactly for Morris, Ajala, or anybody outside of Tyrus Hawkins in the top 10. All I can really do is show you guys their measurables and their production grade, but this will get more in depth once we start talking about the position groups that I actually have been targeting. So you see Tom Morris, a 99 production. Do they give you anything else? They give you speed and yeah, that, not much. Why is there so many Tebow comments? We need Jack Marius, Tech, Theratrix. Hey, it wouldn't be a bad pick. So this is a, like I said, defensively heavy top 10, and then we get to a couple quarterbacks. And I'm liking just the way that is because these aren't our needs. But then we get to Tyrus Hawkins. This is the #1 player on my board. Now, I do plan on following my board as I draft, but obviously at running back, do you take a running back despite him being the best player? I mean, you have to account for needs somehow, and if there's another elite player at a position, then you can consider going elsewhere, because I found running backs in the 2nd round I like, in the 6th round I like, and of course here. So let me tell you guys about Tyrus Hawkins, halfback from Georgia. He's 21 years old, 214 pounds, 5'11", so decent size. And here's what he brings to the table. A, speed. A, agility. A, acceleration, so you know he can get to the edge, change direction. Also comes with B, trucking. So this guy could probably run a power offense. He could run some outside runs as well. Go across here, C, carrying. I don't have his catching. If I had one more point, I could find that out. And I should have already done that, but I did not. So Tyrus Hawkins here. This guy is pretty special. You can see why he's the top player on my board. He's extremely talented, and running back's a big need for us. But, you know, you have to basically strategize in a way that allows you to get the best combination of players. And so maybe taking him in the 1st round wouldn't be ideal, and who knows if he'll be there when we pick. He's projected to go 9th, and I could see him going way earlier. So, you know, could we trade up for Tyrus Hawkins? Potentially, if he falls somewhere into the teens. I have that 2nd, 3rd round pick that could be used in a trade-up situation. So Tyrus Hawkins could be a player you see in a Panther uniform, but I wouldn't bank on it right now. I would expect him to be drafted well before our picks, so I think if we want him, it'd have to be a trade-up situation. We'll go through some more. We got Keshawn Steed here, another pass rusher. I have not scouted him. Melquan Garner, another heavy receiver class. Outside linebacker Quentin Bernard, Kalen Clay, cornerback. And here's the range where we're going to be picking. We got some more receivers. Luke Reedy, a left tackle. Dante Davis, defensive tackle. R.T. Acosta, another defensive tackle. His name is R.T. I thought he was a right tackle. You know 5 things about him, not really a top player. Well, I can't really spend a ton of points on one player, or I could. But the thing is, if I strategize like that, I'm not going to be able to look at as many players. So what I did is I looked at key traits that would give me as clear a picture as I could for a high amount of prospects. So I think that'd be a pretty safe bet putting him on at the top of the board, just because we know that the things you look for in a running back, it looks like he can take care of. Let me look at all these wide receivers, though. Wide receivers not a priority for us, and this is a good thing, because we could either catch one of these guys falling if we want to, or they're going to get drafted, and that means people won't be taking players that I want, which would be a nice change of pace from last year. Look at all these early round receivers. Someone's gonna fall. Someone will. Let's look at one I do like. Let's look at one. This is a route runner, a 5'8", 188 receiver. Devontae Jenkins. He is the... Let's see, I have him on here. He is the 11th ranked receiver, and I could see him falling further than the 3rd round because receivers always fall. Somebody's always going to be there late. And if it's Devontae Jenkins, it could be a nice option for us. Not a lot of production at Ohio State. He has A, acceleration, C, spectacular catch, and B, route running. I know I don't have a lot to share with you guys about all these players, but at least I'm getting kind of some of these key traits. I'm not sure why I scouted spectacular catch over catching. It might be a cheaper rating, but here's somebody who's kind of interesting. Alright, so let's go back through the first round. We'll just kind of look at what players are there, and then we're going to start going by positions. And we'll see how deep different position groups are, and who some targets could be for us in different rounds. Hey, the Twins score yet? Last I saw it was 10-0 with runners in scoring position for Detroit. So, quarterbacks, defensive linemen, front 7 guys, receivers. That's basically how the first round looks. There's another running back here. I wasn't too keen on this guy. He's 5'7", 183, and so, you know, with that size, I do get a little bit worried. A, acceleration, C, trucking, B, elusiveness. Didn't do a ton of scouting on him because I was looking at other guys with different measurables. 11-0. That's interesting. Okay. So why don't we, while we've been talking about running backs, let's stay with the running back group. Here are all the running backs in this class. A lot of late round guys. Handful of early runs. So we know that I like Tyrus Hawkins a lot. Avon Hale, probably not a guy I'd take early. Ace Kane. This is somebody who is high on my board. Now, I have different guys listed as green, purple, and red. The greens are great players, the purples are value players, and the reds are bad players. And I really didn't hand out much bad player grades. I just did great and value because that's who I'm going to be trying to draft. So Ace Kane. Let's look at what he brings to the table. 6 foot 204 with A speed, A acceleration, B agility, B trucking, B elusiveness, but D carrying, D catching, and F route running. So while he has a lot of talent, I worry about him in the passing game and holding on to the football. So, you know, taking a guy early, you don't want to take a guy early who has some really key negatives. And that's what Ace Kane has. These 3 ratings right here are, you know, you're going to take a guy early, you want him to be dependable. But if we can improve those ratings, we have a guy here who can run all over the place, has power, elusiveness, and change of direction. So I'll still consider him. Colin Mendenhall, I actually didn't get around to scouting him. I don't scout everybody at every position because I just don't have the points to do what I want. Kelvin Pearson, I did scout him. He has A acceleration, B trucking, and C elusiveness, D catch, and D carrying. So he's got better size than the guys I've been looking at. He's heavier anyway. And he's got a few good ratings here. But again, catching and carrying, I need those ratings to be a little bit better. And I do think, guys, that we're going to be doing a lot more throwing to backs next year. So that's one of the things I'm definitely looking at. I would like to throw the ball considerably more in Season 3 and have receiving backs that allow us to throw the ball like 40 times a game. We have Kamal Galvin. I did not scout him, at least yet. Kadorius Ash, I did not scout him. Now, Jermichael Ivory, this is one of those gem prospects I have found. He is one of my green players, and I only gave out about 25 green grades to the guys I scouted. Why is there so many Tebow comments in my chat? Let's talk about Jermichael Ivory, everybody. 5'10", 201 from Yale. A speed, A acceleration, B agility, C trucking, B elusiveness, with C carrying and C catching. So he does offer more here in these two departments than the other running backs. He also has speed, change of direction, elusiveness. It might be able to get some yards after contact as well. So for a guy who's projected to go in the 6th round, this is somebody I'd be willing to take, in the 4th round potentially, maybe even the 3rd, because I have 2 third-round picks. He is ranked the number 8 running back, so we have to see how fast those guys come off the board. So he might be a guy who gets taken earlier regardless, just based on being one of the best running backs left. Not very productive in college, but still a lot of intriguing ratings here. He's one I've thought a lot about because he brings a lot to the table and is a low-round guy, so it would be a low-risk draft pick. Let's see. Did I give out any other green grades at running back? I did not give any other greens out. Now, we're not going to dig into all of these running backs, but another guy I found, we're going to go back up. This is a guy I have labeled as a value player. I like him. A late 6th round prospect, Troy Knox from Florida State. Another guy who didn't really do much, 17 production. B speed, so we know he's not going to be a burner. B agility, A acceleration, C trucking, and B elusiveness. So he's similar to the other running backs I've scouted, just without as much speed. He comes with D catching. So maybe a bit of a project, but perhaps a guy who could replace Jonathan Stewart in a year's time or 2 years' time, being a guy who can come off the bench and get us some yards after contact. We could take 2 running backs in this class, and if there's an option late, maybe it's Troy Knox. Look at Childs. I really can't. I don't really have enough points to do anymore now. I will have a chance to scout some more players during the actual offseason, so we'll see if there are any names that come up here or any positions that I will start looking at more players. So running back is one I did put some effort into. I liked Hawkins, Kane, Ivory, and Troy Knox. Oops. Let me get back in here. All right. Let's go to quarterback. Let's do one I can get through quickly. The quarterback position is not a huge need. We have Cam Newton, Taj Boyd, but we could use a 3rd quarterback to either be the 2nd or 3rd stringer. And if you want to see how much I've scouted quarterbacks, here's your answer. I've scouted one guy. Just one. I didn't need to scout anybody else after this. He's rated a purple player on my board. He's value. Vladimir Sutton from LSU. Could be a late round guy. Didn't play much. He has B throw power, B accuracy mid, and B accuracy short. So we know a decent arm, and he can hit the short and intermediate stuff. I don't know if he can run. He can fit the West Coast offense, so I like to think he's going to have at least mid-70s speed. I think this would be an intriguing guy to take in the 7th round or undrafted if I can, and to let him become a backup. So this is Vladimir Sutton, the only quarterback I have scouted. And I didn't scout anybody else because I liked what I saw. Let's go fullback. I have not scouted any. Here are all the fullbacks available. Denolius Moore, Daryl Duncan, Samuel Umodu, and Dwan Briscoe. I haven't scouted any of these fullbacks because I actually found somebody in free agency that I want to compete with Mike Tolbert, and I'll show you guys him either later or tomorrow. So only 4 fullbacks. At receiver, I already talked about how deep this is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first rounders. 3, 4 second rounders. 4 thirds. Bunch of fourths. There's a lot of receivers. It's a good year to need one, but we really don't have a big need. My hope is that Devontae Jenkins could fall. Or, if we get lucky, I did scout Rashard Duncan, another route runner. A acceleration, B route running, and C release. That's all I know about him. He's 5'11", 199, fits a spread offense. 94 production at Tennessee. So if he falls, could be a guy I snatch in the mid-rounds. What happened to Tolbert? His contract's expiring, and I'd like to get him some competition. So I wish I could tell you guys more about this receiver class because it's going to be very good, it looks like. But here's all the scouting I did for receiver. Morgan Crawford, he's a mid-round guy. He has C route running, B release, and F awareness. So I wasn't really too high on him. There's Akeem Hickson, A speed and C route running. But he has really good size to go with those two traits, so he's intriguing. He's from Minnesota, too. I just noticed that. He's probably really good. Yeah, I've had people tell me I should scout intangible more. I just shy away from 25 points. But perhaps I should try doing that more next year. Jawan Everett, did I scout him? I did. He's got D route running and D release. He's a red player on my board. I just go elsewhere. Tight ends. Moving on. Now, I could use another blocking tight end. We don't have a great blocking tight end on the roster. And I'd like to do more outside running this year. And just more running, or not more running, but I want to do more outside runs. And I think that we could use a better guy than like Brandon Williams coming off the bench to block. And Gates wasn't much of a blocker for us. However, I didn't find a guy that I liked a lot. The tight end I have rated highest on my board, that's all the guys I scouted. I scouted a bunch. I scouted 1 rating on a bunch of them. Here's all of them. No first round guys. Mustafa Trahan was my favorite. C speed, C run block, and C impact at 6'6", 265. However, him being one of the best tight ends available, he might go higher than his projection, and I'm not really interested in a blocking tight end that early. If I can find one of these guys who had C run blocking as an undrafted, that's what I'd likely do instead. There just wasn't a guy here that really stood out. Left tackle. Now, Olin Greco is a left tackle. He's a better pass blocker than run blocker, and he's also playing with Andrew Whitworth. Now, Whitworth has been playing left tackle, played well for the most part, not week 17, however, and Greco played right tackle. Still looking to get another tackle, whether it's a left tackle or a right tackle. I'll try to be pretty flexible there. So, I have scouted a few guys here I liked a lot. I think I'm going to save this guy for tomorrow. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to scout Luke Reedy. I don't know anything about him. He's 6'5", 340, so maybe he's a right tackle instead with that kind of size. We'd have to take a look. But I did scout Skylar Small. And Small is one of my top tackles available. He is one of the green players on my board. B pass block, B run block, B impact, and C awareness. So looks to be a pretty overall solid tackle. And despite these ratings, he's not my top tackle. My top tackle in this class is Delonte Moore. He is a mid-second round prospect, and he's projected to go right around our second round pick, but he's also the 4th best left tackle available. Let me show you what Delonte Moore brings to the table. A pass block, A run block, B impact, and C awareness. Delonte Moore may be one of the top 2 or 3 players on my entire board. This would be very hard to pass up, especially if I could play him a year at guard and then kick him out to tackle. This could be a guy we consider with our very first pick. This is really impressive right here. He's the top tackle, both left or right, that I've scouted. He's big, good run blocker, good pass blocker. This guy is pretty amazing. At left tackle, Skylar Small and Delonte Moore are my only green level players. I did scout Daryl McClendon He has B pass, B run, C impact, and D awareness. So he might not be a bad option, but he's not going to be rated higher than these other guys. Decent option, though, if he can fall a little bit further than where he's projected to go. A.J. Mitchell. Problem I had with him was that he just needs to get better as a pass blocker. He's a good run blocker and impact blocker. So impact block is how long they hold their blocks for, and I'm going to need better pass block. So simple as that. We saw how bad our pass blocking was this year. I can't take a C pass block that high. Here are the rest of the left tackles. Anybody late I liked? No, not really. No. Actually, a guy who's similar to a couple of the guys I just looked at is Isaiah Ferguson. He's another C pass, B run guy, but he has C impact and F awareness, so maybe a late round prospect I'd go for. Don't want to take him probably in the mid rounds. Wouldn't be that confident in the pick. Let's move on to left guard. And there's only 5 draftable prospects. So another quick position group to go through. The top left guard here, actually for me, down here, 5th round prospect, Herman Gilmore. 6'3", 309. And if we can get a guy like him in the 5th round, I'd be stoked. Or even the 4th. 83 production, B strength, A pass, A run, B impact, C awareness. What if we got him and Delonte Moore? That would be 2 tremendous upgrades along our offensive line. There's no reason Herman Gilmore should not be going this late. And that's why it's a great thing that I have 2 third-round picks, because that gives me the flexibility to take him in like the 4th round or trade up to get him earlier in the 4th round if I feel like I have to do it. So Gilmore and Moore himself. Gilmore and Moore. This is going to be an issue for me, clearly. Maybe I shouldn't draft them. So we know these guys are really good. The top guard here, Antoine Hurst. Not going to be a target of mine. Good size, but I got to have better pass block. That's just not going to work. We can't get beat again on the inside. We have to have Cam some time in the pocket. I also scouted Jalen Knox, the second guard. He has B impact and B run, F awareness. So I'm not sure how good of a pass blocker he is. Maybe I should find that out tomorrow. Write that one down. What positions are you targeting first? Ideally, I'd like to target corner and offensive line early. That would give me the flexibility to take a running back later, a backup linebacker, pass rushing depth, another receiver. So if I can address those main needs early, it's going to open up the rest of our draft. So these are the rest of the left guards, and we'll move on to center. Now we have Ryan Khalil, who's going to be entering the last year of his contract. He has played pretty solid, and so I'm not looking to replace him, but a backup center we could definitely use. And I've scouted only 3 centers. I'm not looking at taking a center early, so I ignored these guys. A guy I liked a lot, he is a value player on my board, could be there in the 5th round, is Houston Simon. He is a 16 production center, so obviously not much of a productive college career. He has B impact, B pass block, and B run block. So overall, might be a tremendous backup for us to have, even if he never has to start. If we keep Ryan Khalil, he'll never have to play, but having that backup option, or potentially having him play guard, another good offensive lineman for us to go for potentially late. And no, I'm not doing the entire offseason right now. I'm only doing a draft preview. The offseason is tomorrow. I'm giving you guys a look at the top prospects and the guys I'm looking at early. I've also scouted Laquan Harmon, and I found that he has F awareness and C pass block, so likely not an option for me, unless I scout these other ratings and they're very good, because as a backup I could upgrade a couple of other ratings over time. So there's quite a few draftable centers, and the one I like the most is the 5th on the board. Now at right guard. This is Now with our guards this year, we had Trey Turner play right guard for most of the year, and then we swapped sides because Silatolu and Turner could not get their act together. It seemed to work for a little bit, and then everything was terrible in week 17, so none of those guards are safe. So I have scouted some right guards as well. Only a couple. I did find one I liked. So I might scout some more guards tomorrow. The player I liked who was a green player is Jazario Dorsey, right guard from Texas. He has 97 production, B strength, A pass block, A run block, B impact, and D awareness. Might be a day one starter caliber player, and he's projected to go mid-4th. So another good guard. I found him, and the other guard I liked a lot was Herman Gilmore. So that gives me 2 options in the 4th and 5th round that are really good. I only ended up scouting 2 right guards, as one of the first ones I scouted was this guy right here, and so I stopped scouting guards to focus on other positions of need. That's what I did a lot. At other needs like corner, I scouted a lot more because we could use multiple. And then at right guard, if I find a mid-round guy, I kind of come back to it later. I also scouted Todd Toomer, the top right guard in the draft. I see he has B run and C pass block. So obviously, I've been deterred from these lower rated pass blocking guys this entire time. So we're almost done looking at this offensive preview. We're going to go back through this and kind of look at top players just overall again. But at right tackle. Now, we could use a true right tackle. Olin Greco is a left tackle that's playing right tackle. So at right tackle, my favorite guy is Mitchell Middlebrooks. And by the way, this is a weak right tackle class, as there's only 3 guys projected to go in the first 3 rounds. And all 3 of those guys are mid-round prospects. I liked Mitchell Middlebrooks from Rutgers. Not very productive, but has B pass block, B run block, and B impact block. Good tools to work with here. Might be able to start early in his career, or at least be a serviceable backup until his time is called. I also scouted Sean Lockett, who I would consider late. He has A run, C pass block, and B impact. If you can up the pass block a little bit, you have a very solid right tackle. 43 production on him. So I might go for some of these C pass block guys if I can get them late and develop them. See, I also scouted Moses Briscoe. Where's he hiding? A 6th round prospect. 1 production. C pass, B run block, and C impact. So late round guy, maybe developmental. Anybody else? Nathaniel Barker. Well, actually the top one. He has B impact and C pass block. So I'll scout run block probably. Or actually, I probably won't, because he's projected to go pretty early, and I found better guards who are supposed to go later. So here are all the right tackles. We have a couple thin positions on the offensive line on this right side. So it's a good year to have to replace your left guys, but on the right side, maybe not. Although, we might be changing positions with guys anyway. We'll see what happens in the draft. So now, we've covered offense. Found some very good running backs and offensive linemen, some options at receiver, a potential backup quarterback. And now we're going to go to defense. We're going to start with these pass rushers. And we could use some backups. I need to do some more defensive line scouting tomorrow in the actual offseason. I'll tell you right now, I scouted only 3 pass rushers, and I liked them all. That's why I didn't scout more yet. If you'll see, at these positions that aren't high needs, I'm looking at mid-round guys, and I'm getting lucky finding the right ones. So let's look at DeAndre Sapp, a 4th-round prospect from Southern Mississippi. He has B speed, B strength, B finesse moves, C power, and F awareness. So I see a guy who could potentially be a nice edge rusher, and the B finesse moves would be very good. C power moves, I wonder how good the block shedding is. And left end would be basically your strong side end. So shedding and power moves would be very important. Otherwise, I'd have to move him probably to right end and play behind Mario Addison. I want more of a run stopper, strong man at left end like Charles Johnson is. The other guy I like a lot is Yao Ajala, who I actually rank higher than Sapp. And he's another green player. Both these guys are greens. He has B strength, B power, C block shed, F awareness, F play rec, and B pursuit. So I kind of scouted different positions on these guys. I don't know his speed, but I do know that he has the strength I look for at left end. He's also got the size, 6'7", 265. So he could be pretty interesting. Let me write down Yao Ajala. We're going to look at his speed tomorrow. We're going to look at DeAndre Sapp. We're going to look at his block shed tomorrow. Otherwise, like I said, a lot of good, couple good ones early. Probably not a priority for us in the early rounds, but once we get to the 3rd, 4th round, there's going to be a lot of options for us. Now at right end, I scouted only 1. That's probably going to change tomorrow. I went to the very bottom. I found a value guy. This is Martez Henry, 6'5", 255. Speed rusher. That's what they say his player type is. I don't even know his speed yet. They could be lying to me. B strength, C block shed, B tackle, B pursuit, and F awareness. So if he has the speed, I think he can chase. And he could be a very... What's a Lambeth? Where is Lambeth? I've never even heard of that. I need to look at Martez Henry's speed tomorrow. He's a 7th round prospect, by the way. This guy's pretty cool. A lot of good tools to work with. And so we'll move on from the pass rushers on the outside, or we still have some we could look at, although we're a 4-3 team, so we probably won't. Defensive tackle. Top 2 guys in the class. There you go. Tom Morris, Axel Ajala. I found a couple guys I liked a lot. We have Star and Short. I'm not sure how easy keeping both of them is going to be because they're both extremely good and high rated. So, regardless, we have to get depth and be prepared in case one of them doesn't re-sign with us, or both, potentially, who knows. So, one of the guys I liked, I found 2 guys I liked, both 2nd round prospects. So, not an ideal round, but I found them. We have Queenie Beasley, a run-stopping 6'3", 285-pounder, likely a short backup. Comes with A strength, A power, and C block shed, and D play rec, but looks like a pretty good force on the inside. There's also Jocelyn Martin, who has B power, B block shed, D awareness, D play rec, and C pursuit. So I'm not sure if either of these guys could be interior pass rushers. I'd like to get another one of those to come off the bench, but at least I'm finding some good potential backups for short. Might spend some more time tomorrow scouting some of these players. I'd like to get an idea of who can rush the passer. Maybe some of these mid-round guys I'll look at. A guy I should look at is Skylar Narcisse. He's a third-round prospect with B strength, D block shed, and C tackle, so not ideal block shed here. But if I can find some good speed or acceleration and maybe finesse or power, then we have an interior pass rusher. We also could just take a chance at a guy late if somebody falls, just to get another capable backup. Because our backups this past season were very old, DeJuan Edwards and Kevin Williams, and that's not ideal. I like to do more rotation. So D-line, we're done there. Let's go to linebacker. This is Thomas Davis's position, strong side linebacker. And I thought I found a guy that could play in his spot if he ever got hurt last year in Bob Butler, but Butler proved to not be ready. Butler may be more of a weak side linebacker. He's a great athlete, but every time he got approached by a blocker, it seemed he went down. So he's not going to play until that gets straightened out. So if I'm looking for a true strong side linebacker, I found a couple guys I like. There is Darian Addison, 6'2", 241. Very productive. B speed, A tackle, B pursuit, C play rec, and B block shed. A very key rating here. So this looks like a very good strong side linebacker. However, we might not be in a position to take one this early. I also like Tariq Stokes. A speed, A tackle, B hit power, pursuit, and play rec. C block shed, D awareness. So I'm pretty confident in both these players being very good linebackers. Hopefully strong side guys, as I'm not sure how much longer Thomas Davis is going to hold down that spot. Let's see, I also scouted Gage Hadley from Alabama. Not the speed I like, but he has other good ratings like pursuit and tackle and block shed, C coverage. So if that's speed, you know, I'm just not going to know that speed. I'm not going to get 1,000 points to find out, so that's going to deter me. I didn't do a lot more scouting on these left outside linebackers. Might do some more tomorrow. Maybe one of these late guys like Kadorius Bass from Yale. That's a cool name. Might have to scout him. Let's go to middle linebacker. Now, obviously, we have Luke Kuechly, and he's very good. However, we could use a backup. So, here's an option. If you guys noticed in the offseason, or like late in the season, I showed you guys who the Heisman Trophy winner was, and it's Mikhail McElroy from North Dakota. A defensive player from North Dakota won the Heisman. Wait a minute, 36 production? That doesn't even make sense. But he won it. So I'm not sure what he did. Alright, A pursuit, B block shed, F man, D man, F awareness. So to me, from what I can gather right here, probably a downhill run stopper. I don't know his speed or hit power or strength. But not a guy I'm looking to trust in coverage. I wanted to scout him because he was the Heisman winner and see what was here. But I'm not too keen on him. A realistic option, Bernard Mays from Kansas. B speed, B pursuit, C block shed, C zone. So I'd have to see this man coverage likely. And I'd like to see his play rec, maybe tackling, but pursuit is good. Zone give us something to work with, as does block shed. And it's a 6th round guy anyway, so it can't be too picky. Might be a good option late. I also scouted Jarvis Malone. C strength, B hit power, B pursuit. But needs to improve the intangibles and the coverage. Overall, here are all the middle linebackers available. Let's go to right outside linebacker. This is A.J. Klein's position, and I thought he played pretty well this year. However, we could still use an outside linebacker, and maybe if there's a guy here who could play Thomas Davis' spot, then I'm going to put him there. I found two guys I liked here. Devontae Spears is the first one. Texas A&M. Very productive. B speed, B tackle, B hit power, B pursuit, C awareness, and F play rec. So I wonder at 6'3", 240 if this guy couldn't play middle linebacker instead. He looks to have the size, speed, downhill run stopping ability. I guess we'll have to see about coverage, but I'm intrigued. Second round prospect though, it's a little early for my taste. So once again, late round guy. We're going to talk about this from Boise State. Here we got a guy who has A speed, A pursuit, C play rec, D awareness, and C zone. So a couple good ratings to work with, speed and pursuit. However, we have very good speed and pursuit with Bob Butler. So, you know, I'm not sure if this guy has all the tools I would need. I certainly don't know yet. So that takes care of the front seven. Now we'll go to the secondary. And people asking when the stream is actually going to be for the offseason. It's tomorrow, around the same time. So this is just a draft preview. Cornerback is the position I put the absolute most effort into. I came away with 6 guys that I really liked at corner. From the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds. So that tells you something. Actually, yeah. 7 guys, actually, not 6. That's why I was confused. 7 guys. So we could use a left outside to cover the number 1 guys. Somebody who needs speed to go downfield. Likely some press ability. And we need a nickel corner. Someone who can cover in the slot, has good agility, and tackling. There are a lot of corners in this class. This is a good year for us needing corners. First, I did like the top corner, Kalen Clay, although I rank him my 4th corner. Not going to find anybody more productive. A speed, a run support corner, it says. With B-man, B-zone, C play recognition, C tackle, C pursuit, and D awareness. So I like to see these ratings here be a little bit better. But I think we got a good cover guy. He's 6 foot, so good height. Not great. But certainly a good corner option. But yes, 24 years old, that's also not ideal. I also liked, we're going to go down to Jordan Okafor, who is my 3rd corner. Now we're getting into the second round guys. 102 production, never mind, you can find somebody better than 99. Interesting. A speed, B man, B zone, C pursuit, awareness, D play rec. So I should scout press tomorrow on Okafor. Writing that one down. But a guy who is very productive, another run support guy, with good man and zone coverage. And yet, with these ratings, guys, he's my 3rd corner. 3rd. Let me introduce you to my number 1 corner. This is my top corner, one of my favorite players in this draft. He's taller than the rest of the guys above him here. 6'2", 196, Dontrell Miles. 88 production. A speed. B man, B zone, C press. See the rest of the ratings here. Press could use a little bit of work. But he's got the size. 6'2", 196, speed. This is the combination I've called my favorite corner in this draft. But I see you guys in the comment section, you're really liking Jordan Okafor. That 102 production. Notice how we're not even out of the second yet. I haven't gotten to my 2nd rated guy. Malik Carpenter is my 5th rated corner. He is a green player. The top 7 are all green, by the way. 69 production, good speed, agility. I was looking at him as a potential nickel guy with his size. and the agility would make me pretty confident. B press, B zone. With that press, you could also play on the outside potentially. But these ratings here have to get better. Man, you guys don't like Dontrell Miles. I have him bumped up a little bit because of his size. At 6'2". If you look at like what the ratings they have in common, Miles and Okafor have the same speed, man, zone, and pursuit. Whereas Miles has better play recognition and press. I don't know Okafor's press, and his play rec is lower. So if I can see his press, maybe Okafor will get bumped up a little bit. But I've been kind of focused on Dontrell Miles, personally. Size means something. So let's look at Malik Carpenter. Or we just did. Yeah. That's funny. How old is Okafor? Let's look at age. Okay. So, my guy Dontrell Miles. Does it show it here? Where do you see their age? Miles is 23. Okafor is 23. Anybody who's like 27 that I have to be worried about? No. I wonder who the oldest rookie is. So, okay, down the list. Next guy on my green list. We're getting there. Asmeen Pickett is not. Carlos Lauderdale. Alright, Tavon Birch. He is one of my corners high rated, 5'10", 182 from Maine. Very productive with good speed, agility, man, and zone. This is what I'm looking at for a nickel. What's his tackle? D. So, if I can get the tackling better, we have the pursuit there. Or we could get that better as well, but this is kind of what I look for in a nickel, just with a little bit better tackling. Should be better against, with man coverage than Melvin White was. How old is Birch? 20! That's cool. Moving on to... this guy I rated my number 2 corner, honestly. I was intrigued. Same measurables as Dontrell Miles. This is Emilio Benjamin, a 5th round prospect. With A speed, B man, zone, and press. C pursuit and play rec. D awareness. This is not a 5th round player. Not by any stretch. There are some very good things to work with here. I'll find out maybe his tackling tomorrow. But I found a very good corner here I liked a lot. I'll let you guys hit the comment section. I'll be there in just a moment. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this stream also is to get your guys' opinions. I like to see what other perspectives have to say, or if I miss something that you guys catch. It doesn't hurt to have more eyes on this stuff. Who was the corner with D tackling? Dontrell Miles had D tackling. I don't know Okafor's. I don't know Benjamin's. So we're going to do Emilio Benjamin tackling tomorrow. But especially for a late round guy, I liked Emilio Benjamin a lot. He's tall so he can get physical with Mike Evans. Yeah, we could use that. He's 23. There is one more player in my greens. That is Branton Tucker, 6', 184. My 6th rated corner, but not productive. A speed, excel in agility, B man, B zone, C press, C pursuit. However, these Fs, that makes him a project in the works. So maybe late round undrafted. I mean, everything else looks very good, but this looks very bad. Check out the oldest rookie here after I scout these corners. Let's see, anybody else? We looked at my favorite 7 corners already. I think we looked at them all. Yeah, we did. Now, next, going down, another mid-round guy. Who knows? I had guys I liked last year. However, everybody got drafted I liked besides, like, Pruitt. So the next guy down here is DeMarlo Narcisse. He's my 8th rated corner from Temple. A speed and agility, B man, B zone. Why didn't I green him? I have other guys green who are similar. There must have been something I didn't like. Oh, you know what happened? I actually didn't write down all the things that I scouted for him. Yeah, I'm going to give him a green grade. So, we'll keep Narcisse in mind as well. It's just these ratings here aren't very good. He's another late round, or he's a mid-round guy, so maybe not my highest priority. But has some things to work with here. So a lot of cornerbacks to choose from. I've done a lot of scouting on them, and I think we're prepared to take a couple. So next up we have safeties. We could use a free safety, maybe. I did scout Marcus Powell. Look at this class. There's nobody else in the top 4 rounds. So I scouted the best one, Marcus Powell. Productive. B zone, B hit power, and workable play rec and awareness. Don't know his speed yet, so I'd have to find that out, but he's a first round guy, and I'm not looking to take a safety that early. Otherwise, if we go late, I did scout the second guy, Tremont McClendon, who has C play rec, F awareness, and B hit power. Maybe I scout the zone. Find more about his coverage tomorrow, perhaps. But a weak free safety class. Strong safeties. Not top heavy, but there's some mid-round guys here. I found a guy who I have as a value pick. The top one rated for me is Boris Aiken, who is the top here. 6'3", 224 with B speed, B zone, but F play rec, B hit power, C awareness. If this was a little bit better, I'd probably have him as a green. I just didn't want to with the F play recognition. So, you know, decent option here, but I think we're going to be okay with Trey Boston. If I want a different backup, I could go for Ravon Aiken here, who has A speed, which, you know, if you can get A speed for a safety, that's significant. B zone, C play rec, F awareness, and B hit power. So the play rec is better than Boris Aiken. The awareness is worse. So either way, I'd have to get one of these ratings up, but he's a late round guy who can fly. And also has hit power. So he's interesting. He's one of my few value guys I have on here. Now at kicker, I did not scout one. We have Graham Gano. We are in good shape. Punter, I scouted one. Ben Fernandez, A kick power, B kick accuracy. An easy one to scout here. So I am looking to move on from Brad Nortman to get a cheaper punter. And this is my target here in the draft, Ben Fernandez. Or perhaps undrafted. He's projected to be undrafted, but we'll see. And so that takes us back to where we began. I've showed you guys my favorite players in this class. I'm not sure I really missed one. So I went position by position, so I believe I got them all there. And so definitely, if you haven't already and you're watching this on YouTube perhaps as a video, let me know if there's players here that I missed that you liked a lot, if there's players that I liked that you didn't like, if there should be a rearranging of my rankings somewhere. I know corner was debated. So again, here are the top players in the class, front seven quarterbacks, and then Tyrus Hawkins, one of my favorite players. Excellent blue chip running back prospect. There are some receivers here. And if you look at our biggest needs like tackle, I mean, we're not really talking about tackles until the middle of the first round. And at guard, we're not talking about them in the first round period. So corner could be our first round target, although my favorite corners aren't even first round prospects. What this should tell you is that we are prime candidates to trade down in the first round. Acquire another mid-round pick, still get the guy I want, and another one of these guys I liked in the third or fourth or fifth round. Oh yeah, oldest rookie. Let's do that. Let's do most productive first. Jordan Okafor, 102. Oldest rookie, nobody over 24, so nothing crazy. I screwed this up. Get me back to where I was. I didn't like any of the corners. Dorsey, Moore, Gilmore, and Ivory are the only must-gets to me. The athletic linebacker was okay as well. Trading down is a must unless the top running back falls to you. I mean, the corners, what I didn't find at corner was the complete package. Maybe that's why you didn't like any of them. We didn't find a guy who was a superb cover guy with speed and the ability to play the run. This class of corners does not have a bunch of run stoppers, at least it seems. If we go here, let's see, who are the top? Oh, I looked at unscouted only, that's why it's screwed up. Look at the top tacklers. I haven't found anybody with higher than C yet. Look at hit power. I didn't scout this too much, but I didn't find anything here with a couple guys. Just scouted the guys I liked with that rating. I did find good cover guys, and that's going to be the biggest priority. Just because we allowed too many completions last year, too many big plays, too many plays downfield. So maybe there's not a total package here, but there's definitely good cover guys. And so once again, I'll recap our needs heading into the offseason tomorrow. I have them listed as number 1 outside corner, primary running back, starting guard, slot corner, a right tackle, outside linebacker, safety, slot receiver, backup, veteran quarterback, and punter. So early on, I'm looking at a corner, or corners, offensive lineman, maybe a running back if we have an opportunity, and then later I like to go get some depth along like our defensive line at pass rusher, maybe a backup safety, maybe a receiver, quarterback. But I think we definitely have some good players to choose from. 4 picks in the top 100, and maybe in a spot where we should trade down in the first regardless. So that is the draft preview, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, going through these players and just seeing who the top players are, who I like the most. And then once the draft happens, I'll be keeping track of all the players I liked and where they actually get drafted so we know who we're going to be facing this season, and I can bring it up in the videos themselves. So again, feedback. Let me know in the comment section who you thought your favorite players were that I showed. Obviously, I couldn't get around to all of them because I can't scout all of them, but I went into all the players that I had highly rated. And even some I didn't. So, I'm hoping that the mid-rounds can get us some good opportunities to get some quality players, and there should be some starter caliber players left. I found plenty of good players in the 3rd to 5th round that, could make a big impact. And so that's going to do it for today's stream, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Again, feedback down in the comment section, and the off-season will be, if you're watching this on Twitch, it's tomorrow. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's today. Hopefully you're not watching this and not realizing the off-season may have already happened. But I'm looking at Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Time. Just as this one started, I'll have an announcement video out tomorrow. And so, thank you guys for coming to the stream. And I will see you in the off-season and in the comment section to see what you guys think of this class. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you later. Have a great day.